All right. All glories to Mother Ratasha, all glories to the religion of love, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the Supreme Lord. O Lord God, please help us live out these teachings, be an example of love in the world. Jai. Alright, today we're starting from the Book of Wisdom. And this is one of my favorites in the Religion of Love book. Super cool. It talks about the signs manifest in the devotee of God along your spiritual path. The Book of Wisdom. It was the age of ignorance, a time when darkness lay heavy as death upon the peoples of the world, so that in the sacred city candles were lit and floated out on the glass-black waters of the holy river. On the ghats, ghee lamps cast their glow upon the warm night air, and the skies were filled with fireworks. Though earth, air, and sky were set alight, darkness did prevail. And the people called out to God, and God sent into the darkness light. And we who are disciples of the one the people call the Angel of Bengal would be witness to this light, a light so powerful it would shatter the darkness of ignorance in the very depths of the hearts and minds of man. The people call it the religion of love, and many its teachings, and this the Book of Wisdom. It was on that night, in the sacred city of Benares, that I, Rajak Khan, and others who had long sought the knowledge of this world would now know of wisdom. For the Master spoke of this, saying, "Worldly knowledge may bring worldly comforts, and that of itself is good. But one who makes the only purpose of life the acquiring of worldly comforts is as the prisoner condemned to death, who on the eve of his execution is pleased by being given the most comfortable cell in the prison." And she said to all assembled, "Know that in this world we live imprisoned by illusion, with time the cruel executioner. It is not wisdom to spend your entire life in making a prison comfortable. Wisdom," she said, "is in the getting free." And one asked of her, "How then may one be freed?" And she answered, "Only one who realizes he is not free will get free." And all were curious to learn more on this. So smiling, she began one of the fool stories that we might be given understanding, saying, "One day the fool went to the tailor, that he might have him make a shirt for him. After he had picked out a fine material, and the tailor had taken his measurements, the fool asked the tailor when his new shirt would be ready. The tailor replied, "In 1 week, God willing." A week went by, and the fool returned to the tailor's shop to pick up his shirt. "Alas," said the tailor, "the material you ordered was late in arriving, so I was unable to complete your shirt on time. But God willing, it should be ready in just 3 days." Of course, the fool was disappointed, but what could he do? 3 days later found him again at the tailor's shop, anxious to have his new shirt. "I'm sorry," said the tailor, "the buttons have been giving my workers some difficulty. If you can come back tomorrow, surely, God willing, your shirt will be ready." The fool, now completely exasperated, lost his temper and shouted at the tailor, "God willing? Look, if you take God out of it, when will my shirt be ready?" And she made comment on this, saying, "Wisdom is knowing the purpose of life is not to lose God, but to find God." And one asked of her, "And where is God to be found?" "In love, is God found? The answer came. And another asked, how might this be accomplished? And she answered, it is already accomplished. It is illusion which blinds you to this truth. And we were confused, and a certain man asked again on what we must do. So in answer she said, many the paths and many the practices that may reveal the truth of God to you, and all are good. And of the many, she gave 3. Hearing the word of God, chanting the holy name of God, and remembering God, saying, one who practices these 3 things with unceasing and unalloyed devotion to God, he shall know the truth of God, which is love. And there shall be signs made manifest in him that he is the devotee, the beloved lover, the servant of God. And he shall be called wise among men. For truly I say... Oh, where'd the page go? Sorry, my finger slipped in the mouse. Dun dun dun, suspense. and he shall be called wise among men. For truly I say now to you, there is no greater wisdom than love of God. All else is foolishness. Should I read a little more? I'm going to stop there. Okay. Commentary. So it starts off, it was the age of ignorance. So this is referring to the current era that we live in today. Now, in the scriptures, it speaks of the universe going through different cycles, different eras, kind of like seasons. And we experience 4 seasons on Earth, differentiated by temperature, hot and cold. And the universe goes through 4 seasons as well, differentiated by degrees of influence on our consciousness. And the Vedic scriptures talk about 3 modes of material nature: goodness, passion, ignorance, these influences that affect our material minds. And we are ever conditioned by any combination of these 3 at any given moment. And depending on what era we are born in, we are more influenced by certain factors, such as the present age we live in, which is known as the age of Kali Yuga, is the age of ignorance, the Iron Age, or the age of quarrel and hypocrisy. And I think we can all agree that we've seen lots of quarreling and hypocrisy in this world, right? So, and for reference, the other ages, the Golden Age, the Silver Age, the Bronze or Copper Age, and the Iron Age. Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dvapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And by degrees of consciousness, the different material modes that have influenced those different ages. Satya Yuga is mostly goodness. People are more in tune and harmony with God's will. There's less vice. People are more spiritually inclined. In the age Treta Yuga, mix of goodness and passion. Now there's more influx of greed and violence, things like that. And Dvapara Yuga, again, mix of goodness and passion, but passion is now much stronger. And Kali Yuga is basically just ignorance, where passion and ignorance, where goodness is pretty much non-existent in very, very small amounts, really. So this is the age we find ourselves in. And yes, it is the most degraded age. It is the age of ignorance. But it's not all that bad. There's a silver lining to be born in this particular era. In fact, the process of spiritual realization, the means by which we can come to know our true selves, becoming self-realized, is actually the easiest and simplest of all, out of God's mercy, knowing that we are so short-lived, short-memoried, short-tempered, etc. So it was the age of ignorance, a time when darkness lay heavy as death upon the peoples of the world. Now, in the scriptures, darkness usually refers to ignorance. And another word for ignorance would be forgetfulness. Forgetfulness of our true spiritual nature. We've forgotten. We don't remember who we are, really. We don't know where we came from before birth. We don't know where we go after death. We are in ignorance, and we don't know the purpose of life. We don't remember God, our relationship with God. So, darkness is the ignorance or the illusion that we are conditioned by in this material world. So that in the sacred city candles were lit and floated out in the glass black waters of the holy river. On the ghats, ghee lamps cast their glow upon the warm night air, and the skies were filled with fireworks. Though earth, air, and sky were set alight, darkness did prevail. This is actually speaking about a holiday in India known as Diwali. And as she says later, this is in the city of Benares, or Varanasi, or ancient name Kashi. It's one of the oldest continually inhabited dwelling places in the entire world. Very, very, very ancient place. It's actually where we have a center, Religion of Love Center, Benares. And even though there's tons of light everywhere, bright fireworks, again, she says darkness still did prevail. Because, it's, again, the metaphor, it's not talking about light. It's talking about knowledge, being awake to the true, eternal, spiritual reality. And even though we have many advancements in technology, so many worldly comforts, we say civilization has come a long way, the true measure of a society's advancement isn't its technology, but its moral and ethical qualities. And that's the true advancement of a society. And as we can see, morality, ethics, good virtues, they're in rapid decline. And vice and sinful activities have become commonplace, have become the norm, and widely encouraged, especially by our leaders of society. And the people called out to God, and God sent into the darkness light. And light represents knowledge, spiritual knowledge. Just as darkness cannot stand before light, so too ignorance cannot continue to exist in the presence of knowledge. And we who are disciples of the one the people call the Angel of Bengal would be witness to this light. Witness to the light. Now, the beautiful thing about a spiritual master, a real bona fide master, is they don't just speak the message of God. They live the message. They are the message. They themselves are that light. So, to be in the presence of a pure devotee of God, of a spiritual master, is to be in the presence of the living message of God, in that light. Oh, it's very powerful. And she says, a light so powerful it would shatter the darkness of ignorance in the very depths of the hearts and minds of man. So that's where the ignorance, that's where the illusion is. It's in our minds. Our heart and our minds are just covered over. She says later, it's already accomplished. You just need to remove the covering that keeps you blinded to this truth. I asked Mother Tasha, where is ignorance? She said, it's in the mind. It's right here. The mind and our heart are very much connected for our consciousness. The people call it the religion of love, and many its teachings, and this the book of wisdom. So, again, religion of love is not some new thing. It's not some new group. It's not some here's some big revelation. Not really, no. All this knowledge has been given before again and again and again. Like it says in Ecclesiastes, there is nothing new under the sun. So all that Mother Atasha was sharing was just the simple, pure, uncorrupt truth of God. as originally taught by every messenger, every prophet, in the heart of every religion, which is love of God. Strip away the culture, strip away the traditions, the dogma, especially strip away all the commonplace interpretations of the scriptures. No, get straight to the pure truth, the simple, practical, beautiful message of God. And the people call it the religion of love. Mother Tasha did not name it. The people just called it that. And so, okay, well, we got to put something on the book. So we'll put that. That's kind of how it came about. She just taught knowledge. That's it. She called it the path made straight, really. Just walk the path, make yourself straight before God, basically. And you find reference of the path, in the Quran as well. And it was on that night in the sacred city of Benares that I, Raja Khan, and others who had long sought the knowledge of this world will now know of wisdom. Knowledge and wisdom. What is the difference? Knowledge is second-hand information. It's knowledge that you have acquired or you have heard from some other source. Wisdom is when you have realized that knowledge. You have experienced it for yourself, within yourself. It's become a part of you. And crude example, knowledge might be, I believe I can hike to the top of that mountain. Whereas wisdom is being on the top of the mountain saying, yes, I know I can climb to the top of this mountain. That is wisdom, experience knowledge. Such as, if you've never tasted honey before in your life, and I taught you about honey, you might know that it's sweet. But until you actually taste it for yourself, you don't really know truly what is the taste of honey. So knowledge that we have tasted for us, that we've experienced, that is wisdom. For the Master spoke of this saying, worldly knowledge may bring worldly comforts, and that of itself is good. But one who makes the only purpose of life the acquiring of worldly comforts is as the prisoner condemned to death, who on the eve of his execution is pleased by giving the most comfortable cell in the prison. So worldly knowledge, she says, is in itself good. It depends on what your goal is, obviously. Mother Tasha didn't like labeling things as good or bad. No. She put it in the context of, what is your goal, and is this beneficial for your goal or not? So, if your goal was to make money, make yourself comfortable, acquire wealth and prestige and whatever in society, then sure, worldly knowledge would be quite beneficial for that goal. Knowledge of how to make money, knowledge of a trade or skill or career that you can earn an income, etc. And she says that in and of itself is good. That's fine. We still got to eat, right? We still take care. We still have these bodies. We still have to maintain them. That's fine. But she says one who makes the only purpose of life the acquiring of worldly comforts, and that's really what we have all done. We've just centered everything around our life and just making ourselves more comfortable. More money, more enjoyment, more entertainment, more nice things, right? Forgetting the real purpose of life. And it's fine to have those nice things. You don't have to, be super austere, wear a itchy, scratchy robe and live in a cave to live in a spiritual life. No. You can have a nice couch, that's fine. But don't make that nice couch your only purpose. She says, if you make your only purpose in life acquiring worldly things, then you're just like a prisoner condemned to death. And then on the eve of your execution, you're pleased because you got a nice comfy cell in the prison house. That's not wise, no. And she says to all assembled, know that in this world we live imprisoned by illusion, with time the cruel executioner. So what keeps us from experiencing our natural, eternal state of love and full conscious knowledge, our natural spiritual consciousness, what blinds us to this is the illusion that covers our heart and our mind. And it imprisons us because we get trapped in these patterns, trapped in these habits, conditioned to go with the flow and do as the world does, and pay no mind or attention to the great questions of life, to answer, who am I really? We're imprisoned by our own illusion. And time is the cruel executioner. Time waits for no man. Doesn't matter how many millions or billions of dollars you may possess, it cannot buy you not a second more when your allotted time in this life is come. And it comes for all. Said it's not wisdom to spend your entire life in making a prison comfortable. Wisdom, she said, is in the getting free. That's the true wise one, is breaking free from this illusion, from the cycle of birth and death, free from our suffering in this material world. That's true wisdom. Do you want to just stay in a prison all your life? All your many, many lifetimes? Oh, we've already been here millions. Millions of times around. Oh my goodness, it is crazy. That's probably even not even a proper saying it's under exaggeration, to be honest, how long we've actually been in this material world, going round and round. So one asks of her, how then may one be freed? How do we break this cycle? How do we get home to the spiritual? How do we break free from our illusions and become self-realized, become enlightened, so to speak, or God-conscious? And she answered, only one who realizes he is not free will get free. First, you have to realize that you're actually in a prison house of illusion. And if you've seen that movie, The Matrix, it's got a lot of wonderful references to spiritual life, honestly. No, we don't live in a simulation. No, we're not controlled by AI. No, that's foolishness. But we do live trapped in illusion, and only one who realizes, or say, like for example, Neo, he realizes he's stuck in the Matrix and takes that red pill, as a symbol of his desire to get free from the illusion, right? So only the ones who know they're in the Matrix have a chance to even get out of the Matrix. You first have to become aware that this life is full of suffering and that this world is a prison house of birth and death. If you just think, oh, everything's fine, hunky-dory, I like my comfy couch, I like all my stuff, and you don't ponder, you just go with the motions and just tolerate all the repeated suffering that comes, the death of your loved ones, your own diseases, old age, your own impending death. Like a sheep being led to the slaughterhouse. And then you'll never be able to break free. But if you're able to hear and inquire and to seek knowledge of the absolute truth, then you might have a chance to break free. You just have to have a little knowledge and desire, and then it becomes possible. And then there's this story of the fool and the tailor, and the tailor keeps saying, when will my shirt be ready? Oh, God willing, 1 week. And he comes back, okay, God willing, 3 days. Okay, God willing, tomorrow. And the shirt says, God willing, what if you take God out of it? When will my shirt be ready? And my elder brother Rajak, this is one of his favorite stories. He would sometimes say, like, when will my shirt be ready? He would say these funny contexts. Not always when the teaching applied in that moment, but it was just funny how he just would come to say, when will my shirt be ready? God willing, God willing. Rajak had his funny moments. So the fool is just saying, so in this situation, things were out of the tailor's hands. He tried, but forces of nature caused delay in shipping. Oh, he didn't expect the workers have problem with the buttons, things like that. So this was, God is the supreme controller of everything. We're really on his time, not ours. If we realize that. And the fool is thinking, well, let me just take God out of the picture. Now when will my shirt be ready? And that's basically what we do. We've taken God out of the picture of our lives. And we try to do things completely on our own, achieve happiness and so-called success by our own merit, by our own skills, our own intellect, our own prowess, our own connections, etc. Trying to do everything on our own, trying to enjoy separated from God. But it doesn't really work out. There's always suffering. And someone who thinks that they don't suffer, they're crazy. Either they're a saint who's fully purified in ecstatic bliss, or they're a foolish, crazy person who thinks, I don't suffer. No, I'm fine. It's like an ostrich with their head in the ground. No. Though she made comment on this, saying, wisdom is knowing the purpose of life is not to lose God, but to find God. In fact, God is what we're actually missing. People feel that void, something's missing in my heart, and we're kind of sold by the fairy tale illusion of this world. Oh, find your soulmate, find your twin flame, and that would complete me. We think this is a romantic story, and then boy gets the girl, or girl gets the girl, boy, whatever, these days, and it's not all up. It's not what we all cracked it up to be. It's not what we thought. And then there'll be some joy, there'll be some whoa for some time, but then that palls, that fades. That wasn't the purpose of life. And the thing we're actually missing wasn't some other person, wasn't some big bank balance, wasn't anything outside of us. Honestly, the thing that we're all missing, the thing we're longing for, the thing that we feel to complete us, is God all along. It's always been. It's our loving relationship with God, that love. I was talking with our Native American friend the other day, and in their teachings, they center everything about their relationship with Spirit. It's all about their relationship. And that's what devotees do. We are reawakening our lost relationship with God. Just like all of us here have a relationship as friends, as colleagues, as bros, just gaming buddies. We all have different relationships. And the more we get to know each other, the greater that relationship is cultivated, the more affection and love we have for one another. Same as our families and our friends and whatnot. It's the same thing with God. And there's no greater loving relationship that we have than with the Lord. Oh, and it's so awesome. It really is. Oh. And one asked of her, and where is God to be found? She says, in love is God to be found. Is God found. So love, remember, is of the eternal, ecstatic, spiritual. That's how we define this word love in the religion of love. It's not romance or desires or feelings or emotions. It's the eternal spiritual. God is love. Love is of God. It's the eternal spiritual. That's where you find God. You find in your heart, not in the mind, not in the illusion. Clear all that away, clear the cloud of ignorance, and the spirit soul like a bright sun shines forth with all pure love. And someone says, and where is God to be found, love? And the answer came in and says, how might this be accomplished? And she answered, it is already accomplished. You already have the most beautiful eternal relationship of love with God. You already are eternal and full of light and knowledge and bliss. That's you. That's already you. That's the real you. You are love. It's just illusion which blinds you to this truth. You just can't see it. Like a veil that's covered our eyes, we just don't see it, but it's there all along. Ooh, wind. And we were confused, and a certain man asked, and what must we do? Okay, how do you clear away that illusion? She says, many the paths and many the practices that may reveal the truth of God to you, and all are good. She's talking about devotional service. Things that are pleasing to God and recommend in the scriptures and purifying to our heart and mind. And of the many she gave 3, hearing the word of God, chanting the holy name of God, and remembering God. That is our practice, these 3. Hearing the word of God doesn't just mean reading or paying lip service, no, or just memorizing. No, it means doing it, practicing it, applying it, so that knowledge becomes realized, becomes real wisdom. That's hearing the word of God. Chanting the holy names of God as a practice, and remembering God as much as possible, being conscious of the eternal, ecstatic, spiritual, being thankful, having an attitude of gratitude, thinking of ways to serve. And just any time we can turn our mind towards the eternal, ecstatic, spiritual, and any form or name or message of God, anything of the spiritual, just being remembered, or being in remembrance. And she says, one who practices these three things, remember there's more than these three, but these three are primary. In the scriptures they call it Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, hearing, chanting, remembering. One who practices these three with unceasing and unalloyed devotion, he shall know the truth of God, which is love. Unceasing and unalloyed, meaning 24/7, our consciousness is in this state fixed in love. And unalloyed. An alloy is when you mix different metals together, it becomes an alloy. But she said unalloyed, unmixed, where our consciousness is 100% for the pleasure and service of God, not serving myself as well, or serving this or mammon and nescience, but serving only for the pleasure of God. So unceasing and unalloyed devotion. If we can get to that state, that is the platform of our natural consciousness. That is the platform of pure devotion, enlightenment, spiritual realization, which we already are at, mind you. We're just so covered over, we just can't experience it. All we have to do is do the work. That's it. Clear away the dirt. That's it. That's literally what enlightenment is. Do the work, clear the junk away, and all that will be revealed. And little by little, we don't start, completely unceasing and unalloyed devotion. No, we don't start that way. But little by little, the more we clean, the more our heart becomes purified, the more our desire, our attraction for the devotional service grows and grows, until eventually one day, yes, our life is nothing but love and service. Until that time, baby steps. And there shall be signs made manifest in him that he is the devotee, the beloved lover, the servant of God. So there will be signs. And this book, I know I'm going a little over, but say real fast. This book, the Book of Wisdom, teaches us what are those signs that we're making progress in spiritual life, that we're getting closer and closer to that state of unceasing, unalloyed, pure devotional service. It's pretty cool. We're going to go into that next week. And he shall be called wise among men, for truly I say now to you, there is no greater wisdom than love of God. Really? There is no greater wisdom, no greater knowledge, no other greater purpose than this. Everything else, honestly, is all foolishness compared to this, because everything else is temporary, its results limited, bound to suffering. Anything of this world will be lost, like everything in this world. But that which is of God, which is of love, of the eternal, is never lost. And that love keeps growing and growing ad infinitum. Okay, stop there. Apologies for going over. Oh, where is it? There it is. All right, does anyone have any questions related to today's class? And if not, a comment or any spiritual question will be fine. Apologies, I'm wearing the hat and half my face is in darkness. It's pretty bright out. And I know a lot of the concepts I've gone over before in other classes, so you've probably heard me repeat some of these teachings again and again. For a new friend joining, it'll be probably his first time hearing them, but that's why it's called religion. We do repeat the same teachings, hammer them in. Oh, didn't actually press start for the event on Discord. Nope, no questions or any comments? Y'all good? Anything you'd like to share? I know sometimes when we close the class, then Yeti starts talking about something.
Someone has a question in general.
Oh, there's a question in general chat. Oh, let me go check it. Do. Oh, Callian. Okay, he said, is this world like a prison? Yes, it is like a prison, actually. And these bodies are our prison jumpsuits, so to speak. And there are different cells and prison blocks, inside the great prison house. Some maximum security, some easier going, some might be isolation. There's better and worse parts of the prison, but it is like that. And the scriptures do speak of this world as they call it the prison house of birth and death, because all who enter must suffer the threefold miseries of life. Miseries caused by nature, by others, by our own minds and bodies. And we must experience birth, death, old age, and disease. And what keeps us in this world, in this prison house, is our illusion. Because we keep getting attracted to the material. We keep getting entangled in karmic reactions. As you sow, so shall you reap. And when you sow of the world, you reap the world. So you get stuck, you stay in this world. But when you sow of the Spirit and free yourself from material desires and attachments, ultimately, eventually, that's how we actually break free from this material world and go back to the spiritual world. And there is a spiritual world. There's a material world and there's a spiritual world. Material energy and spiritual energy. And we, the spirit souls, are called the marginal potency of God, which means that we're spiritual beings, but we can kind of be attracted to either or, the spiritual or the material. And when we become attracted and enamored by material things and sense pleasures and things like that, we become, totally bought into the illusion, the false ego that we are these bodies, and then make all of our, efforts in life pleasing the senses of our body. Then we get stuck in the material world. In fact, then our karmic reaction starts snowballing. You roll a snowball down a hill, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That's kind of what happens. We get caught up in this web of karmic reactions because everything we do in the material world comes back to us. Everything. Some immediate, call it instant karma, right? Like stepping on a rake, but there's also big things, generational things that coming back to us from long time ago, even past lives even. My goodness, it's crazy the way this karmic web, it's like into a web, that they were just taught, like this 3D, like fishing net almost that we're trapped in. And a spiritual master, one of the words of guru, or one of the definitions of the word guru means to cut, is one who helps you cut those ties to this world, like cutting the net to break you free from material entanglement. So yes, this world is like a prison house. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, you're most welcome. Yeah. And the concept that until we realize we're in the prison, we'll never be free, it's very powerful. If you think everything's fine, you think this is all hunky-dory and great, you don't realize the harsh realities of this world. Maybe like Siddhartha, the Buddha, when he was a young prince, there was a prophecy that he may become a great preacher and help deliver the world from suffering, or a great king. And his father, the king, didn't want his son to be a great preacher. He wanted him to carry on his lineage and be his successor to the kingdom. So he sheltered his son Siddhartha in the palace and never let him see any suffering all his life. He never saw death. He never saw people get old. He never saw people who were sick or full of disease. He never saw poverty, pain. All he knew was just lavish comforts of the palace until one day he sneaks out of the palace and he witnesses, the suffering that actually is of this world. And he keeps sneaking out, and more he realizes that, wow, there's so much suffering in this world. And he develops this extreme compassion for all the suffering that people are experiencing, that he makes it his mission in life to cure that suffering. So if we remain ignorant to the reality, the harsh reality that this world is a place of suffering, not our real home, then we stay stuck here. But when we realize the harsh realities, that's when we develop the desire to know how to break free, to find the knowledge of the absolute truth. And that's actually going to be the subject for next class, actually, next weekend. Thank you for sharing your question. Anyone else have a question? It doesn't have to be related to the class. It could be any spiritual question. I'm here for you guys. I can just sharing what I heard from my spiritual master and the scriptures. You good, love? You getting dust all over you? I'm so focused on this class. I probably got so much dust in my nose right now. I'll clear that out later. So all good? Alright then. Then I suppose we can end there. Unless there's one last thing someone wants to say. Going once, going twice. It's nice being all together, sharing you guys' feedback, hearing what's going on, what you guys thinking about all this. No? Okay then. Alright. All glories to Mother Ratasha, all glories to the religion of love, all glories to the assembled devotees. Jai. Alright, let me close the recording.